For somewhere between 35 and 40 years, people have been asking me how to buy gold and silver and platinum because they've been concerned about the deterioration of the dollar, which recently has really accelerated mostly because of the war and then the big economic crisis, which has made it a lot worse. So, I have explained these things over and over and over again for 35 or 40 years. And what I'm doing here now is trying to get the essentials down for, it would be nice for all time, but I know that isn't the case. But to get it here so that we've got a reference that everybody can go to, and I don't need to keep repeating myself anymore. So let's start. Bryce, my assistant, can shoot questions at me, and I will do my best to answer and elaborate on them.
All right. Well, I'm kind of a novice at this, at buying gold. I've never bought any, so I'm kind of coming at it from a good place.
Right.
I guess the first question is, how much do you buy?
I have had people tell me that they've put all of their financial net worth into precious metals.
All of it?
And that scares me to death, because that assumes that this whole thing is going to unfold in a massive inflationary direction, and that there's no risk in putting all of your assets in there. And that, who knows? I could be wrong about all of this. A lot of other people could be wrong about all this. You don't know what's going to happen. Economics is a soft science. It's not a hard science, and its ability to predict is very problematic. So my advice is always you should have at least 10% of your financial net worth in the precious metals. By financial net worth, I mean your net worth minus your house and your car and personal property and that kind of stuff, your financial assets. At least 10%, you might want to go as high as 20%. But the thing to keep in mind is that if this really does go in a hyperinflationary direction, which is what it looks like right now, the typical person on the street will begin to discover gold and silver, and you'll have the whole population start to stampede in that direction, and these metals will rise so much that if you only have 10 or 20% in them right now, they will increase enough to cover the loss of whatever else occurs to you. Just by the simple fact that there isn't that much of these metals in the world, and if you have the entire population of the United States going into them, they are going to go way up.
Right. That's the advantage of precious metals, is that you can't. There's a finite supply of it.
Right. Right.
It's not be inflated. Right.
That's right. And that's a very good point. That's the key to the whole thing. There's a finite supply. That's why they are so desirable. You cannot create gold, silver, and platinum on a printing press.
Or through the banking industry.
Right. Yes. They can't just fabricate that stuff out of thin air.
Right.
And that's what makes it nice, because the government can't fake the stuff. Right. There was a point in the 70s, up until the 70s, where gold was illegal for Americans to own. You could go to prison for owning gold because the government did not want you to have that alternative. Right. But there was a lot of people that got politically active, and they got that repealed, and it became legal then for Americans to own gold. But that's usually a sign of tyranny.
Right.
Usually? Yeah, usually, yeah. Yeah, if you're not allowed to own gold, that's not a good place to be.
Right.
Okay.
What kind? What kinds of precious metals?
Well, I'm talking about gold, silver, and platinum. Now, you have a lot of people that think that if they own gold stocks, that they're covered, or if they have gold on deposit in a bank someplace, that's being covered, or if they're in commodity futures or commodity options, that they're covered. And all of those can be good speculations. I have most or all of them myself. There's a lot of those kinds of alternatives around. But as I explained in the June and July issue of Early Warning Report, we're to the point now where the government has done enormous damage to the financial system. So the risk in holding anything that isn't actually the real metal is much greater than it used to be. You don't know what's going to happen in the financial system. And it's not getting any better. As we make this video, I should point out things are still very, very shaky, and I expect them to be so for a long time, for years to come. There will be moments, there will be periods of weeks or months where it will look like things are getting better, but I can't imagine how they could get better on a permanent basis without some kind of an enormous political upheaval, which is probably coming. But the main thing is that when you invest in a gold stock or a bank account that's in gold, silver, platinum, whatever, you are trusting the financial system, which has become very shaky now. So my advice is when I'm talking about putting 10 or 20% of your financial net worth into precious metals, I'm talking about the real metal.
Actually owning the coin.
Right, right.
And then where do you buy the precious metals?
After gold became legal in the 70s, there were a lot of banks that were selling gold coins. I don't see that anymore. There may be some around. You can phone around. But the primary source for precious metals is coin dealers. And just look in the yellow pages under coin dealers and phone around or go around and visit the shops. It can be educational. Go visit the shops and see what's there. When you're going to buy, be sure to shop around. Don't just go with one dealer. Check with quite a few about what their prices are. And so you'll have, when you make the decision I'm going to buy now, you're going to have some idea of what the price ought to be, the ballpark. If you see somebody coming in very much lower than anyone else, then stay away from it, because these are commodities. There's a tremendous amount of competition, and the prices tend to be very close all over the world. So the coin dealers are the main source. You may find some private parties, but I don't, that's a problem. I don't think so. I'd stick with the coin dealers.
Okay. So what specifically, as in what types of coins, what ingots, coins, or junk silver, or what specifically are you recommending? Okay,
I recommend only coins, and as far as the mixture, I'm entirely comfortable with 1/3 in silver, 1/3 in gold, 1/3 in platinum. But silver, I think, has a lot more potential in the long run. So if you wanted to go half in silver and then 1/4 in gold, 1/4 in platinum, that would be fine with me too. There are other advantages to silver, which I think we should get into here pretty quickly. Let's break right here and bring some of the coins over for people to be able to look at while we're talking about exactly how you go about buying this stuff.